The whole camp was built for missionaries from Guangdong, not just from Hong Kong. It was for the missionaries to escape the summer heat of the altitude, because it can be quite fresh. I mean, I remember one evening we even needed a jacket in summer.
20世紀初，一班喺廣東一帶嚟自唔同國家、唔同宗派嘅基督教宣教士，同埋佢哋嘅家庭，喺廣州附近嘅山上建立避暑營地。到咗1922年，由於政局動盪、治安轉壞，當局未能保障呢班宣教士嘅安全，佢哋唯有嚟香港揾新嘅地方建立夏令營。1924年嘅平安夜，佢哋向香港政府買咗喺大東山同二東山山脊之間嘅20幾幅地，喺山頂上面起石屋，作為宣教團體同宣教士家庭嘅營舍，正式建立爛頭營。呢啲石屋喺1925至1934年間建成，當中仲有飯堂、游泳池等等嘅設施。呢100年嚟，爛頭營嘅居民一直維持營地嘅運作同埋保養石屋，仲自行開闢兼打理通往爛頭營嘅幾條山徑。呢度一直都冇電力同自來水供應，而且淨係可以步行前往。雖然山下社會急速發展，但係山上面嘅爛頭營仍然保留1個世紀前嘅風貌。
How do you get to know Lantau Mountain Camp, or when do you get involved?
To Hong Kong in the late 60s. Air travel was something unusual. So people spent the summer holidays in Hong Kong, and Lantau Mountain Camp was a good thing, and it belonged to our mission. So all of us went up at one time or the other and spent a week or 2 weeks there. You know, at that time there was a summer camp organized for 6 weeks or even 8 weeks, and people booked the cabins, and there was a mess hall where you could get lunch, and dinner was on your own, and you could order food. And at that time when I came, there were still local people from the village, from Wuiwo, carrying up the food stuff and the luggage of the campers. So yeah, that was quite convenient at that time.
So many people at the summer camp. But your favorite activities?
For lunchtime, all together in the mess hall, and then there was the swimming pool at that time. And there were organized activities. There were always 2 excursions. One was to Black Rock Pool. Black Rock Pool is on the way down to Dongzhong. At a given time you have to leave the trail and go down. It's not a very big pool. And then the other one, the big one, is Perfect Pool. Perfect Pool was good. You could jump from, I think, 2 or 3 meters high into the pool, and so it was great fun. And then there were sing-along and competition and things like that. And then there was what we called the Old Ladies Walk, that was going around Sunset Peak. You could do that in late afternoon. When I was in charge, we had a Swiss party. 4 men, they went regularly up to play the Swiss form of bridge there.
Oh.
So once a year.
When people are at Lantau Mountain Camp, they spend their time in the outdoors instead of inside the cabins.
Yes, I mean the cabins are small. You were there for eating and taking naps, but otherwise, yeah, you could most have a kind of a terrace or a place outside where you can sit. At that time, but I think the majority belonged to missionary societies. So yes, you got really mixed, and the people I know from, I'm from the ecumenical side, and the others from the more evangelical. You met them up there, you made friends. It was good. It was really good to mingle with people with different backgrounds. I mean, of course, there were Americans, British, Scandinavians, we from Switzerland and Germany. I mean, that was in the early stage that still villages were willing to carry. But then that stopped, and one time we had used a helicopter service, I think 3 or 4 summers. So the goods from Hong Kong were lifted up there, and it was quite tricky because in summer the camp is very often in the fog. I mean, you must know you can spend there 2 weeks and you sit in the fog. And also 100 meters down is sunshine. Because it's the geography, it's the first high mountain coming from the South China Sea, and I guess then the clouds, the humidity gathers in clouds. Before and after, then it was the boys from the family of the campers. They had 2 teams. One would go in the morning down to Puyo and buy goods on order, Hong Fok store. And the other would come from Hong Kong up and go back in the evening. And they earned money, they were quite proud, and of course they were very fit at the end of the summer. Didn't have any boys anymore. I carried gas bottles up there 2 or 3 times, and that's a hell of a job because it's bulky. It's not probably if you would have like of the thing which you could put it properly, that would have been easier. But with the ordinary backpack to get it fixed, no fun. In the very early stage, people came up from Dongzhong, and 100 years ago when the cabins were built, of course there must have been a lot of interaction with workmen, but that was long before our time. When I was active, there was cabin number 3 belonging to an Irishman, Mr. Kennedy Skipton. And he was the trail supervisor. He had been working for the government. And I remember he used to write to Tong Fok prison to ask the prisoners to come and put the trail in good shape. And I remember one year the answer was, well, we are sorry to say we don't have enough manpower, but we hope the situation will improve for the next year.
There's also mentioned interest in keeping the cabin for like the next 10 or 20 years.
Now because we did not know in the long run whether there would always be somebody from Basel Mission, so we handed it over to the Zhongzhanwei. And some people from Zhongzhanwei go up. But what is really needed is somebody who would adopt the place and go regularly and look after it. Cabin number 4 would need a very big renovation now, because the pipe from the water tank goes under the floor into the kitchen, and somehow it rusted through and the water doesn't flow anymore. So that would be a major work to be done. First thing, of course, a lot of maintenance was done by the house owners, and then we exchanged experience and knowledge. For example, one big breakthrough when we got iron boards which did not rust. That was really good because before you put it up and then after 3 years or so the iron was rusty, you had to exchange. So now it really lasts for very, very long. And then the other thing was to keep the roofs clear, I mean not leaking. That was also always exchange what is the best way, and every few years somebody came with a new method and said, now that is even better. The swimming pool was in good shape, but now I think it's not in use anymore. We had to almost every year to put some cement on the floor because it was always trickling through. And people now say it's inhabited by the newt.
我哋係有幾個營舍嘅，咁但係呢個營舍係好細嘅，但係呢個營舍一直嚟都係即係我哋覺得都係我哋嘅即係物業一部分啦。咁亦都係嗰啲 missionary 喺呢個地方裏邊係真係我哋嘅歷史嘅一部分嚟嘅嚇。咁所以咧對我哋嚟講嘅話咧，就即係絕對唔會考慮將佢變賣。因為事實第一係佢冇乜經濟嘅價值，第二咧對我哋嚟講咧，反而係我哋歷史嘅一部分啊。因為嗰度好唔方便，我哋都冇打算係即係點樣翻新佢啊、裝修佢，因為翻新裝修之後咧，我哋都冇辦法將呢個地方轉為一個營舍服務。喺上邊咧，好快又會又收又會又剩咧。又打返回原形，所以我哋其實基本上真係 keep 住佢，當係一個我哋文物嘅一部分。
Of course, the camp lost some attraction because people now can travel easily to any place in Southeast Asia and do not depend that much on the as a holiday place. Now, some houses are still belonging to churches, so they were handed over, or maybe also some to like ours, to church people. But then there are others who bought the house, outsiders.
我哋可能會喺90週年嘅時候，我哋即係會講翻多啲，因為我哋有啲年青新一代，佢哋對環保啊，對呢方面會比較上有心㗎，即係佢哋會覺得好似尋根咁樣樣咧，係再 connect 翻同呢間屋嘅嘢咁樣啊。咁但係就即係肯定對成個教會嚟講咧，我哋都唔會即係會變賣啊。即係嗰啲人都唔會嘅，我相信我哋都保留翻而家嘅 status 咁。爛咗個窗或者整翻個窗，因為嗰啲石咧，你唔搞佢嘅話，可能100年200年佢都係咁樣冇嘢嘅。係啊，你如果真係冇嘢撞佢，冇啲人走上面又跳啊又成啦，我估都會好長時間都係保留翻而家咁嘅樣吧。如果我哋執得佢好新好乾鮮咧，咁就會令到嗰啲行山嘅人咧會好注意佢。我哋又唔係好想，即係唔好想啲人好注意佢，真係嘅。
I think the government has now put the panel to tell this is a private house because people assume they are abandoned houses when they are closed, and so to tell them that this is private and has to be respected. And somebody told me, I mean, the campers, they were eating in their house and the campers came in and took pictures. Hong Kong people sometimes are funny. Also, they like to picnic on the rooftops and so, but that's okay. I mean, that you cannot prevent it. As long as they don't empty the water tanks or damage. We had at one time, we had on the saddle, when you come up, we had a water tap. So campers could use, but people must have demolished it or damaged it, so no more. At my time, we also always looked that if somebody came, it would be somebody who had an interest in the camp as a whole, not just doing his own thing, because there's certain amenities and certain things you have to do to get it.